Hello everybody. Welcome to your early happy hour. Thank you all for joining. I hope you guys have some champagne or maybe a red blend from the Columbia Valley. Maybe you are supposed to be working from home right now, but you are taking a breather, or maybe you're furloughed and you are just living day to day, starting to drink at 4, maybe earlier. Hey, I'm not judging you. I'm not judging you. Hey guys, hello. Thank you everybody for joining. Hey Ian, how's it going? How's it going up there? I plead the fifth. Me too, buddy. Hey. How's it going? Okay, I'm so excited that you are all joining me today. I'm just saying hello, I'm waving hello to my friends. We'll wait just another minute for people to get on because we are going to have a fun little happy hour. We are going to be kind of talking about we're kind of going to go in a different flow than usual. We are going to look at it as if we were doing like a dinner party or having people over, because I'm sure we all wish we could do that right now. And hopefully it won't be too much longer before we can do that again. So we will be starting with a champagne from a notorious house, and we'll be segueing into a Bordeaux style blend from Columbia Valley. So that's kind of what we are going to be doing. Hey Mason, how's it going? Thank you for joining us. Okay, so I'm here today to talk about two fantastic labels, and that is Taittinger. And I feel like every time I say Taittinger, I do it with like an English accent because my Rochester accent will come out if I don't really focus on it, and it'll end up being like Taittinger, which that is not correct. That is not good. So it's Taittinger, and we'll be talking about Mullan Road Cellars out of Columbia Valley in Washington State. So the reason why we are talking about these wines is because they both come from one of my favorite portfolios out there, and that is the Co-Brand Corporation. So if you guys aren't familiar with Co-Brand wines, make sure that you're following them. They are at Co-Brand Wines. They have a fantastic portfolio, and I didn't actually realize the depth. I knew that they were one of my favorites and that they bring in great wines, but I didn't realize the depth until I actually went on a couple weeks ago onto their website and just had a look at all of their clients. I mean, anything from the infamous Taylor Fladgate in Porto to Sassicaia to Cake Bread Cellars and the wines that we're talking about today. So I kind of wanted to get started with a little tiny history about Co-Brand because I find it absolutely fascinating. So think New York City right after Prohibition, right? There was a guy, his name was Rudolph Kopf, and he founded the wine and spirits department of Macy's in New York City. Like, I didn't even know that there was a wine and spirits department in Macy's in New York, but hell, there was. And he basically grew this presence to receive nationwide recognition. So he became known as somebody that was very prominent in the wine and spirits industry, and also just like killer in, in Jadot, of course Jadot as well, as another legendary producer. So they basically he became he had the reputation of becoming one of the most knowledgeable in the industry. So going into 1944, he started Co-Brand in New York in the Empire State Building. Hey Gina. So yeah, I thought that was really, really cool. And so going back to the label that we're talking about today, Taittinger, that relationship happened in 1944. So this relationship is nothing new. It's not, we just blah, blah, blah. No, this relationship happened in, 1946. That relationship happened in 1946, so 2 years after the Co-Brand Corporation was founded. So you guys know that I love my grower champagnes. However, Taittinger is probably my favorite big house, and their Prestige Cuvée, or their Tête de Cuvée, the Comté de Champagne, is absolutely ridiculous. So I don't know if you guys have ever had the pleasure of tasting the Prestige Cuvée. I know that they have it at Morel in New York City, and I'm sure that they have it around. By the way, you can buy the Taittinger Brut that we are drinking now and the rosé. They're easily found on wine.com. So if you're wondering where to get it, that is where you find it. So the Prestige Cuvée is absolutely ridiculous. Hey, Kate. So the house was founded in 1734, and although this is a huge house, the Taittinger family has been managing it for over a century. Pierre-Emmanuel Taittinger has embodied this commitment for over 40 years, and today he shares it with his son Clovis and his daughter Vitalie. They both work beside him day to day running the Champagne house. I didn't want to get too far into the depth of the house and the history because my friend, hey Chell, my friend Gina of Champagne Squad Official will be covering this super in depth this Saturday on her United and Bubbly. So I didn't want to go too far into the history of the house and all of that because I know she is going to be covering that pretty hardcore on Saturday. And if you were able to catch Watch Me Sip Raquel on Tuesday, she also kind of went through that. So, but I just found that fascinating, that this is still a family-owned house. Because as you know today, of course, Gina, I got you, girl. As you know today, a lot of the times with the bigger houses, they are owned by these huge umbrella companies, which is not the case here. So in case you were wondering, I am currently drinking the Taittinger Brut. This is based out of France. And that is actually how you say it. It's not Reims, which I made that big mistake when I went to Champagne for the first time. I believe it was
last year.
No, when I went with Steph, my friend, on a bachelorette party. Like, talk about a bachelorette party. I believe we went in either 2016 or 2017. And I thought it was Reims, and I was like super embarrassed to know that it's France. So don't get that twisted like me. Don't make the same mistake. Maybe you're from Rochester and you have a hard time pronouncing things properly. So when do I like to open this champagne? So this champagne brings me to happy days because this is something that I want to open on a rooftop. I want to open on my back patio. I want to open it with friends that come over. Yes, Chell, upstate. We have a hard time. Taittinger. Yeah. Terrible. I want to open this as an aperitif. This is something that I think about when I have people come over. The first thing that I would want to do is meet them with a glass of this, like host of the year, hostess with mostess. So this is basically 40% Chardonnay, 35% Pinot Noir, and 25% Pinot Meunier. So Chardonnay adds acidity, alcohol, and fruitiness. Pinot Noir is going to add some red fruit character and some structure. And Pinot Meunier is going to add some more of that red fruit character. So I know we kind of went over this a few weeks ago when I did the Grower Champagne Sunday brunch. But that is something to really keep in mind because if you are blinding ever a champagne, you'll definitely be able to maybe pick up whether it's a Blanc de Noir or if it's a blend or if it's a Blanc de Blanc. So that is the cuvee here. And another reason why I love this champagne to host with is because there's literally not going to be a single soul in the room that doesn't like it. If you notice, this is a Brut, and basically the levels in champagne go Brut Nature, Extra Brut, Brut. Those are your three categories at the bottom with the least amount of sugar. So if you have a Brut champagne that you're always going to be able to see at the bottom, it'll say Extra Brut, Brut, Brut Nature. You know that there's going to be between 0 and 12 grams of residual sugar per liter. So It could be anywhere in that range. Why do I say that your guests are gonna love this champagne no matter what? Is because there is a little bit of residual sugar in there that's not actually detectable on the tongue, but is just enough to offset any harsh acidities, right? So we know Champagne is this cool continental climate, and they pick these grapes quite young. They still have to be fully ripe because the stems have to be fully ripe in order to vinify this without harsh bitter flavors. But you want to pick the grapes a little bit earlier so that they're not too high in sugar, because that second fermentation is going to add a couple degrees of alcohol. So if you have a Brut Nature champagne, which I actually do love, there is basically zero to very, very little amount of sugar to offset that high acidity. So if you have a bunch of guests over that are not all total wine nerds, that don't understand or appreciate the Brut Nature profile, it's going to be a little bit difficult to get everybody in the room to love it. So that little bit of sugar, like I said, just really, really offsets that big, bright acidity, and sometimes harsh acidity. So smelling this, we're getting notes of green apple here. We're getting notes of pear. I'm getting notes of hazelnut, brioche. There's some floral tones. The mousse is quite delicate. It's not aggressive. And so when I'm talking about the mousse, I'm talking about the bubbles. And when you're sipping champagne, you don't want there to be very aggressive bubbles, right? So sometimes when you're drinking sparkling wines that are not champagne, that are made in other methods, maybe the tank method, you'll find that the bubbles will attack your mouth almost like a soda, and then they'll disappear. Here in Champagne, and especially here in the Taittinger, we have a nice creamy mouthfeel. The bubbles they start in the front of your tongue, they carry all the way through to the back, and they kind of feel foamy, like a nice mousse. So that's why I call it a delicate mousse. So it's really pleasurable. I would start, like I said, start your party off with this. Aperitifs, amazing food wine. And yeah, you could do this with oysters. You could do this with shellfish. You could do this with a veggie tray, a fruit tray, any of that. It's a great way to start. And another one of my favorite champagnes is the Prestige Rosé. So I don't have this one open yet today because we are drinking the Brut. But tomorrow, Michael and I are actually going to open this. He's doing a live on Styled by Mascari tomorrow at 6 o'clock. So definitely tune in for that. We're going to be drinking this together on there. But check out this color. Hey guys, hey everybody that joined. Oh my gosh, I want to wave to you all. And if you have any questions, please feel free to jump on the question box. And if you want to join in and say hi at the end, feel free to hit the smile to smile button at the bottom if you want to join in and ask a question or share what you're drinking. So what's really interesting about the rosé here, and the reason why it has this beautiful rich kind of salmon color, is they add basically at the end 15% Pinot Noir to the final blend. So in Champagne is one of the only places in all of Europe where you can make a rosé by mixing red wine with white wine. I mean, it's literally the only place in Europe. So you can make a rosé champagne by a short maceration like normal, like how a lot of they do direct press or short maceration. But here, in this case, they basically topped off the final wine with 15% Pinot Noir to create this beautiful color. And I've had this before. This is a bottle that would be fantastic with a red berry tray if you did a huge fruit platter, or even a strawberry shortcake, nothing too sweet, but with lots of red berry on it, raspberries. It's fantastic. It also has a creaminess and and a little bit of brioche to it, but this red berry from the Pinot Noir is just so persistent that it is a little bit reminiscent of a strawberry shortcake, but in the best way possible. So, I mean, that just sounds like it would be fantastic. So that is my little spiel about Taittinger. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out, or if you want to share anything that you've learned or a favorite champagne, go ahead and put it in the box. But I wanted to segue into the red wine, right? So say we're having our little happy hour dinner party. We are having people over, we're doing a barbecue. This is just like wishful thinking. But even if you're home right now with your family, you can still simulate this. We are gonna segue into Washington State wine. And I am so excited about this because March was Taste Washington Wine Month, and it didn't really get the chance to get the love that they deserved, right? Because this whole mess kind of happened. And so I think it's really important that we actually touch base on this. And so I'm really, really excited to chat a little bit about Columbia Valley. So, hey, Mullan Roads. And so just so you guys know, Mullan Roads Cellars is here. So if you guys have any questions down there, well, you guys, hey, everybody, I'm waving too. If you guys have any questions at all, please feel free to go ahead and ask, and they will be here to answer all of your questions. Sanye method to achieve their rosés. Yes, so Sanye as well, which is a bleeding method, totally. Okay, so hi from Italy. Oh, I'm so excited. Hello, welcome to happy hour. Or it might be a little bit late where you are, but that's fine too. So consider nightcap. I love nightcaps. So considering we are in Washington State, and you have Northern California, you have Oregon, and you have other parts of Washington making aromatic wines and grapes that are usually found in these cooler climates like Riesling and Gewurz, and then you have your Pinot Noir and Chardonnay from like Mendocino, Northern California. How is it that we are able to create a beautiful, luscious Bordeaux style blend with Cabernet Merlot and Cab Franc? It's like we're way up north. We've already gone through all these aromatic grapes, but yeah, we're able to cultivate and create beautiful Bordeaux style blends in Washington State. Does anybody know why? Well, I'll let you know. So basically, the answer lies in the Cascade Mountains. So there is this mountain range to the west, right, that is basically blocking any harsh westerly winds, any harsh westerly weather, and all of those westerly cooling influences from the Pacific. And then on the other side of the Cascade Mountains, you have the Columbia Valley. So you have these beautiful, long, sunny days. You're still getting a huge diurnal swing in temperature, which means you have long, sunny days and cool nights, which is helpful in maintaining freshness and acidity and aroma, but you're getting this beautifully ripe fruit. So as you guys may or may not know, Cabernet especially needs heat. It needs warmth in order to prevail. So we are able to get a beautiful Bordeaux blend in Washington State. So Mullan Road Cellars was started by the infamous Dennis Cakebread of Cakebread Cellars out in Napa. It's named after Lieutenant John Mullan, who built the first Pacific Northwest wagon road in the late 1850s. So it's an ode to him, which I thought was really, really cool. They source their grapes here. Hey, Philippe! They source their grapes here from 3 vineyards. So you have the Seven Hills Vineyard, the Lawrence Vineyard, and the Stillwater Creek Vineyard. They all have excellent drainage. They all have southern exposures. And if you're a nerd like me and you really want to dive deeper into learning more about where these grapes come from, those 3 vineyards, if you go onto the Mullan Road Cellars website, they give you a really nice breakdown of each of the growing sites and the factors that affect for each one. So for example, 2 of them have like some pretty good altitude on them. One is higher than the other, but altitude, as you guys know, brings you an even more of a bigger diurnal range, even cooler nights, you know, some good drainage there, and so you get some beautifully ripening fruit. So really exciting. This blend, let's talk about this blend, because I had this for the first time last week, and I'm so excited to tell you about it because I was supposed to actually be in Bordeaux actually last weekend. Clearly that didn't happen. So the chance to try a wine from Washington State in the United States that is a Bordeaux style blend with grapes from cultivated there in Bordeaux, I was actually blown away. And we were able to pair this with hamburgers, you're able to pair this with steak. So going on from your dinner party or your cookout or your rooftop party, you're going from your champagne into the grill. So what I would say and suggest with this wine, like I mentioned, anything on the grill from red meat to pork to, if you're vegetarian, black bean burgers, that kind of thing, it's all gonna be excellent. It's all gonna pair. This 2016 is a blend of 51% Cabernet, 29% Merlot, and 20% Cab Franc. So I actually pour myself a glass. So right off the bat, you definitely get that blackberry, black plum, licorice, and cassis of Cabernet right away. But the mouthfeel is this really luscious mouthfeel. It's velvety. It's a little bit plummy, like black plummy. There's your Merlot, and I love it. And then on the nose, you're getting that touch of Cab Franc. You're getting, it's not green or herbaceous, but there's definitely like this touch of green bell pepper, which I always love coming from Cab Franc. And there's definitely some nice balanced oak on here. So that toasty oak vanilla, nutmeg, clove, sage. Hey, Elle. So this is quite literally filling my cup since I'm not able to be in Bordeaux. And what else can I tell you? So this wine spent 18 months in French and American oak, 34% new. So what does that tell us? For one, American oak sometimes can give you a sweet spice, kind of toasty coconut vibe, and I can definitely get that a little bit here. There is like a little like sweet and smoky kind of coconut spice, and then the French oak is kind of more of the subtle vanilla tones and like brings around that roundness along with the Merlot. So it's really, really nice. This is a wine that I can drink on my own, and I'm enjoying it now. And while Michael's over here drinking the Taittinger still. Michael, do you want to come say hi?
Hello.
So this is a wine that you can drink on your own because I'm drinking it now on my own. But I think that this really is a superstar if you were to put it with a little bit of food, serve it with dinner. We had it actually with chicken parmesan the other night, and it was excellent. The acidity from the Cabernet was enough and strong enough to stand up to the acidity in the marinara sauce, and it actually worked out really well. And we also we grilled up some sirloin burgers the other night. Fantastic pairing there too. So, hey Michael, can't wait for your happy hour. Yes, tomorrow. Guys, don't miss it. It'll be at 6 o'clock. So yes, if you guys have any questions, like I said, Mullan Rose is actually on here. They didn't get a chance to really have their Washington State Wine Month in March, so we really want to show them love. The best way to show a region or a winery love is, of course, by going and picking up some wine. So this wine is available on wine.com. You can find it. It is so good. It is excellent value, as is the Taittinger. And definitely show your support because that is the way to do it now during these uncertain times. It's all about supporting each other. And so I want to thank all of you guys for joining on our little happy hour. I know it's a little early for some of you, but if you're like Michael and I, it's never too early to have a glass of wine. It's just us two here in North Carolina. I hope you guys are all good. If you guys need anything or have any questions or concerns or suggestions, please always DM me. Never too early for wine. That's right, Elle.